Well, in the UK, they're threatening us with another lockdown. So it's coming soon, I think. So it's kind of the last push. I'm growing my peppers. They are growing so small. What I seem to have figured was that in the UK, with the compost that they've given us, which is peat free, it's really calcium deficient, and I add lots of nitrogen and a balanced food for tomatoes, peppers, and chilies. But and they've grown and they look beautiful, but they're flowering and they're beginning to produce some fruit, but either they're not going green or anyway. Cut a long story short, basically I've planted my food in brown styrofoam. That's all I can say. So anyway, just thought I'd go through. This cost me, gosh, I think it's something like about £150 all in all. But I figured, you never know, this could be the last couple of months we've got to do it now. Can't afford to, but it's kind of what it's got to happen. Okay, so join me on my journey, if you care to be infused with some sort of enthusiasm, kind of go and do it yourself. But I'm just going to show you kind of what I've got. I'm going to do, each one of these gives me, if you go back to my other canning video, each head with 3 peppers and an onion will give me 3 1-litre jars. So I know that I've got 9 jars ready for that, so that's fine. I bought, gosh, I don't know, a couple of bags of lemons. So I'm going to be cutting off the rind. I'm going to think what to do with that, because generally what I do is I cut the rind off and then cut it in half, get rid of the juice, keep the seeds, and then put the pulp in the freezer for pectin. That way I use it all. I'm going to be doing the celery, where I'm going to show you a trick with bicarbonate of soda, where I can keep the green when I dehydrate. I'm going to make I'm going to be drying again all my I've forgotten the name of it, ginger. So I got quite a few of those. Bit of a top tip, went into a farmer's shop, and in the UK people only tend to buy kind of 4 or 6 at a time, and they were selling at 90p each, or 2 for £1.50. So I said to her, can you do me a deal? Can I just buy a tray of it, please, or a box of it? And she said, I'll give you it for £9. So for £9 I've got, I don't know how many, 30. So deal. Ton of carrots. They're going to be doing all sorts of different dishes with those. And courgettes, I'm only going to be shredding those, because I can make my flour last longer if I make cakes and muffins and stuff like that with a certain amount of the courgettes, or zucchinis as they call them in America. So I'm just going to be grating that lot and then dehydrating. I've got a whole box of, I don't even know how much it is, but I've got a whole box of, if you can see up here, of tomatoes. These are going to be kind of semi-roasted, I guess. But they're going to be put in with onions and garlic. I'm going to put them in the slow cooker, or possibly the oven, don't know yet, one of the few. And I'm making passata with that. I shall add hopefully some peppers to add a bit of sweetness and just different texture to it. Don't know, I'm undecided at the moment. And then the other thing that I got was butternut squashes. I got 3. They were £1.50 each, which is just a lot because they're so small. But I am going to cut them up and roast them, and then I'm going to can them, and they're going to taste like almost like candy. And then once I've canned them, I will be putting get my head together. I'll be canning them so that I can put them in a risotto. A quick, easy butternut squash risotto. I did do a whole video of it, and then I know it went on too long. Anyway, the treat is that I'm going to be dehydrating a load of prawns. There was a little bit of a deal here, but I got 2 bags or 2 things, and I'm just going to put them straight in the dehydrator now because they're fantastic in putting it with savoury rice. Okay, so come on the journey with me. And I forgot to say, I've got 2 25-kilogram bags of Marfona potatoes, which are waxy potatoes. It's the only potato, I only can and dehydrate waxy potatoes. It just makes for a better product at the end of it. Lots of top tips coming, lots of them. Okay. Right, so the first tip is doing any sort of shellfish here. You want to make sure it's cooked first, but fry it, don't oil it, just because it tastes better, not as bland. The first from frozen bag, they're like really mini small ones, but I got a fresh pack that was on sale, but I'm cutting them in half because I'm not going to put that. I know it's probably, you know, small to you guys, but I know in a fry I'd much prefer it in half, so I'm going to dehydrate in half, put them in, and we'll get going on something else. Oh, we're getting a bit of space now. So over here, I know what I'm doing. I've got the veg ready to do my Polish sort of coleslaw salad jars. So I've put them aside so I don't accidentally do something with it. So if you've got something particular, do put that aside. I now need to cut up some onions because I'm going to do my pasta and pizza base. It's pretty much the same. I like it quite rich and I like it quite thick, and the way that I do that is by combining and putting, sort of lightly frying. I put my slow cooker on high. I've got a big knob of butter in there, and that is nicely heating up. And so into that, because this is going to be liquidized, really all I want to do is just get it into manageable chunks. And I'm probably going to put in, because I like an onion garlicky flavour, I'm probably going to put in 2 of these. They're quite big. Oh, I need my fan on. Oh, phew, that's better. Right, so get these onions on with the garlic and get them on a high heat. So what I want you to see that I'm doing, by the way, always pre-sharpen your knife, is I'm going to do the canning last, because actually that's what's... Have I got 1 in or 2 there? Yeah, I'll do an extra one. So I do the canning last because the canning takes up the most space. So everything that I can dehydrate now, put in the slow cooker, put in the oven, chop up ready to be put into pickles that don't need water bathing is the first priority, and then you've got your space. Gosh, having a fan over you while you cut onions is such a blessing. I've got, whether you get a small one that stands on the top here, or whether you get one that is a stand up one, or so one on the counter, or a stand up one. Oh, do get one. That is excellent. Now, garlic. Right, where's the garlic? Yeah, so for me, cooking taste is about complexity, and I always like to have dishes that have got a lot of different things in it, because then it can make something that's simple taste really nice. You know, once you've got that passata right, then you know you can get by with just a few little extras put in, and it's done, because it's so rich tasting. Right, when you first take out your celery after it's come to a boil, you'll have a fit if you've not done it before, because you'll think, oh my goodness, the water's all green, I've lost all my colour, Rachel was lying. No, it goes brighter. Yes, it does look like you've lost colour, but actually it looks brighter. So I'm not too bothered about these being, there needs to be a bit of space, but I don't worry too much about it. Be true, 2 trays. And we are on to our next thing. Right, back again anyway to the garlic. I'm doing a whole bulb. I'm not going to get one of those garlic presses, because it's all going to be whizzed up anyway, so I'm not really bothered. I'm going to test a tomato, because sometimes if the skin is nice and soft, then I don't need to deskin it, but if obviously it is thick, if it is thin, sorry, if it is thin, then I just leave it on and whiz it up. I don't mind. So we'll have to see after I've washed them, and I'm putting them in with some vinegar. Right, done. In that goes, and it will caramelise. I don't have to worry about it, it can cook overnight. So I can just leave that, wash the tomatoes, and we'll have a look at what it looks like in the morning. I nearly forgot to put in my salt and pepper, and I also am going to put in a cheeky few bits of chili flakes, just a little bit, just to kind of warm it up a little bit. Not a lot, just a teaspoon. Okay, so I put a bit of paprika in that because I forgot about that. Give it one last stir. Pop the lid on. and we're going to forget about that for a bit. Now straight on to two other things, the ginger and the butternut squash. So with the ginger, I cut off these little bits on the ends, cut them all off, and then I don't bother taking the skin off. I've never found a need to. Make sure you've got a nice sharp knife for this. And then once those hard bits have gone, right, so that's good. So it makes me see, okay, I can get rid of that finger. There's been such a shortage in finding this that I have to grab it when I can find it. But that, at the end of the day, is what I'm left with. Oh, I'm going to put a bit more. Right, that's better. So now that is the bit, and I'm just going to chop it up in thin slices and get it straight in that dehydrator. Right, so cut these all up. They're great for Asian cuisine, putting in your drinks for, you know, when it's winter time, and because they're so bone dry, you'll be able to put it into you know, a grinder, coffee grinder or something like that, and you can make ginger biscuits and ginger cake out of it. So that is, yeah, so that is about that. There was a few bits, quite a few more bits than I really wanted to throw away there, but I kind of knew that was going to happen. But this is going to make the house smell absolutely gorgeous. These will have to be flat, so I am going to take a little bit more time with these. But I've only got one more shelf to fill up in my hydrator, and I know what that is going to be. Now remember what I said, it's dead easy. Give it a go. One finger here, thumb here, hold it and push in. That's it. And now it's bobbling around inside. That's the way. Whoop! Let me wash that again. Now, I forgot, we were going to put some of these in here, weren't we? So I'm just going to, oops, sorry, bumped. Just gonna lug a few of these in. And again, it's more for taste and background flavour, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Right, so carry on chopping. Right, so we're going to carry on chopping. Now, these just came out such a success. Little jewels, and I reckon I can put these in dishes that my children don't take too much notice of, because they're not great vegetable people at the moment. But dehydrate them how you want them. I mean, that's the secret. I'm hoping to have some, because I am growing them. And I will dehydrate them lengthways, just long strips. But for now, I can actually use these up better being teeny. So I'm just going to, because I can slip them into pasta dishes and pizzas, and all sorts of other dishes as well, when they're little and small. Now, as fortune would have it, I've got little baby, really teeny baby tomatoes that I cut in half, and I slice it where you have, you know, the top of it. So I do it like that. I don't cut it the other way. So it just means it's like they're like little cups of liquid that way. But I'd really recommend you do it. They are little balls of sweets, and I can't wait to do more, but I get small amounts at the moment from what I'm growing anyway, but that gives me just enough room to quickly stick these in, and I have enough space. And that is my rehydrator now completely full. Right, can't quite remember where I am in telling you about this, but anyway, it's onto the butternut squash now, and I'm pre-making the roasted butternut squash, and then I'll be canning it in a light chicken gravy with white wine. But the process of this, once you've cut them all up, I've just added the salt, and now I'm going to put the pepper. You can, if you want to, put some chili to this if you want it a little bit chili-fied, but I'm not going to. I like it just traditional. I've got a whole bulb of garlic here, and I'm going to put 250 grams of melted butter on top and stir it in. Sorry, I had to step away there. Now, you want to, with this, you want to make sure that you turn this every 20 minutes, because you don't want it to burn. They're really just water and sugar. That's what it feels like anyway. So if you cook it too high at like gas mark 7, it tends to burn the edges and you get a lot of black edges everywhere. So that's why sort of gas mark 6, every 20 minutes, give it a stir, and make sure that you are caramelizing it rather than roasting. Do you get me? They will shrink down and they will get nuttier, sweeter, chewier, because in essence you are kind of dehydrating them, but in the slow heating process without mushing. You know, if you put it on a 5, then it would mush it and it would never cook and it would never caramelize, it would never brown. At 6 you're roasting it, so it's kind of getting too brown too quickly, where at a 6 it just means that you know, it's just right. Okay, so I'm going to make myself a drink now. Get up every 20 minutes, turn this around, and then can it. Right, day 2. I hope you're still with me. I was just getting everything prepared, sharpening knives. Sharp knives at the beginning of every day, because that's how we have accidents. And I was just thinking, gosh, what am I going to talk to them about? So, feel a bit more refreshed, did a bit of washing up, and I've got something going off in the oven in a minute, but I just wanted to say, so this morning I took all the ginger out, labelled it up, took out my tomato powder, powdered it up as good as I'm going to get, that's fine. Oh yeah, I didn't explain that, did I? Right, so I peeled, I had to put all of my tomatoes, blanch them in hot water. The skins were so thick, it was like leather, so it was like, okay, I didn't want to do it, but I wanted to restock on my tomato powder anyway, so that's fine. That's what I ended up doing till late hours yesterday. Don't know if you can see, let me have a look. So this is all my powdered and dried, that's the whole lot, the whole sort of two sort of loads of shrimp and prawns. So these have all got to condition, and I'll keep turning them every day, but I'm pretty accurate, they are absolutely hard. And there is my celery. So everything is up now, it's just got to be turned and conditioned, and then I will be, at that point, I will actually just be putting a lot of it straight into my vacuum sealer, because that's how I like to store things. So today, this morning then, I've washed up, I've got everything prepared. What's the next thing you do? Well, we've done all the dehydrating. I've got my dehydrator still on doing the peppers. They've taken a bit longer, and I prefer to have it on for more, but at a lower heat. It just seems to work out better that way. Now, so this is, I turn this off because I kind of like to have things, this is my tomato passata. I kind of like everything to cook only during the day. I don't like anything on electric at night. I live in a flats, or you might say apartments in America. I don't really want to have a tornado of a house fire, so, you know, home fire. So I've got to eat them, that's so nice. So pretty much the dehydration is done, and we've got space here finally. What you need to do is work up to the more difficult things last. So you want this, next is the simple canning stuff, just the simple canning stuff, right? Easy. So yes, so this is going to be my cans of butternut squash that I can just take out and make a risotto really quickly. Now, as you can see, they've kind of ended up being quite small, chewy. I left for the last half an hour. I left it to go half an hour instead of an hour, so they've gone a bit little black tinged at the ends, which I didn't want, but anyway. So you have to pick your jar that you feel is good for your family's needs. Now, my kids won't really touch this, so it's pointless me making a huge load for 2 meals. I want it just for 1 meal, 1 jar, 1 meal for me. Okay. Now, in risotto you'll probably need more liquid than this, but that's why I'm doing quite an intense liquid, because I know I'm going to water it down. Do you get me? So, I mean, at the end of the day, the most important aspect is the butter and the rice first, with garlic and everything else. Now, the one thing I am going to do though, which is a bit of a no-no, but I am going to put in wine. Preferably risotto is best with the butter and the wine, and the risotto takes in the wine and the butter, garlic. But just in case I have no white wine, and I cannot have risotto without a white wine taste, I'm going to add it now in these anyway, because it's miserable without it for me. So you get your required amount which to me is, sorry about the banging, which to me is probably only about that much. Not a lot at all. And then I'm going to chop up with about half a cup of my homemade dry mead, which is fine, that's fine. And then I've got quite a strong, it's 1.5 pints, but I've added 2 stock cubes to it, and that is going to fill the rest up. It's quite hot already. I'm not adding any other vegetables. It's clean, don't worry about it, they rim. I'm putting it in my steaming water bath that's just beginning to heat up, and I'll just carry on doing that till I'm finished. Right, now on to the carrots. I've made sure that I've put carrots aside for the Polish cans, so that's fine. Hopefully I've added up enough. I usually do these like squares because I like them in soups, but I fancy doing something a little bit thinner this time round. I'm going to be adding the salt, teaspoon of salt to each one, and it's I think 25 minutes for pressure can cooking, so that's fine. So an easy one to get rid of, and you can see I'm beginning to, it's all beginning to work out. And whilst all this is going on, my tomato dish is cooking away, and that'll probably be canned tonight. We'll see. I've got a busy day tomorrow, so I can't be doing this all day. But it looks like, and also I'm doing these in the 500ml jars. I don't normally do that large, but the boys, I really want to push them to eat more veg on their plate. So where before I could get away with something a bit smaller, I've got to push them a bit more. So I'm going to do them but in smaller chunks and bigger jars. Okay, see you in a bit. Right, now we're on to the peaches. Now there's loads of different ways to do this. I've just started one off here, but I'll show you what I mean. You can you can leave them to go soft and take off the skins that way. I much prefer to get them when they're still quite hard, but they have turned a lovely colour. And then what you do is you keep the skin on, because that's going to can fine. Do one circular all the way around from the core to the bottom, and the trick where you don't hurt yourself is to get the first one out, right? Ta-da! So that goes in, and then everyone after that, she says, comes out. Now I like the fibre of the skin, but there's a bit something there, but I much prefer to, oh look at that, let's see how far, no that's fine, but I just like the roughage really of the skin, but because they're quite hard they will pop off. Now I'm going to put a level tablespoon of sugar, which is matching to what jar size you have, is between, I don't know, kind of light to medium syrup, but I do that, and then I cook for, once the heat has gone up, I will water bath it for about 20 minutes. If they were larger jars, I'd probably be tempted to do a bit more, but I'm not. Now this is where you can hurt yourself, so if you don't feel confident with the knife, then can them when they're nice and soft, and you can squidge them apart to your heart's content. I've got a very sharp knife. I feel very confident with it, and I've done it before. So jars, do them in the size that you're going to use. So if you're only going to put, if you're just going to eat out of the can, or you're going to have it with ice cream or something like that, then you might want smaller if it's just you on your own. But I want mine for pie size, and that's how I'm rock and rolling. Okay, so moving on, while everything is, if I show you here, oh, stuff being canned. Anyway, while I'm waiting for that, so I was about to start on my cabbage, and then I suddenly went, oh holy moly, I haven't dehydrated anything with the courgettes, and I thought, oh yeah, silly, you can't, because the dehydrator was full. So anyway, second round of dehydrating all of the courgettes. But fortunately this is a really easy one to do, because it took me 6 minutes to do all of this, and I'm just going to sprinkle, and then that can go in. Happy days. Well, I finally took out the tomatoes sauce. I've liquidized it, had a taste of it, added some Worcestershire sauce, some tomato puree, it needed a bit more tomatoes tasting, and some more garlic powder, and I'm going to open kettle it now. Now this would be easier if I wasn't doing it single-handedly, but basically I've got it up to the level of jam, and all I do is pour it in, quickly put the lid on, and leave to warm up, it's all sterilised now. Put the lid on quickly. I keep this bubbling, and then put the lid on. Okay, so it's now time to attack the two 25-kilogram sacks of potato, and let's see what I'm gonna make from that. There'll be some frozen mashed potatoes. Frozen mashed potatoes is great. Definitely going to be dehydrating a load of grated for hash browns, the best ever. Canning a load, and yeah, it's going to be fun. Come join with me on my journey. Hi guys, well, I'm not going to lie, this did nearly kill me. It took me two days, and then I started on the potatoes, and that was another 2 days. But let's go through them, because this video is just about giving you some ideas, a few tips along the way, but also to motivate you as well. So here is, I got so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 500 milliliter jars of my butternut squash risotto mix. So just basically add rice and a bit of butter and hopefully a bit more wine. There's a few changes that I made while doing this. I've not labelled them up yet, by the way. So first one striking is that I was going to do 9 jars of my Polish salad, and I did the first 3, and then I thought 2 things. One, I've started to put it fresh from the fridge into sandwiches, and with the onion in there, I thought, not really going to pass with my son on that one. So what I did was, whoops, so I jarred up a load. So they're ready. They've just been fried in butter, and I add a teensy bit of water with the salt and can up. It's so hot here that the butter hasn't melted yet. So yes, the recipe for this is in an earlier, and I'll leave a link around here for what I do. So I thought, well, I did that, so I took the onions out, and then I thought, gosh, you know, I do quite a few stir fries and chow mein stir fries. I'm going to really need stuff for that. So ergo, that's why I decided I'd dehydrate the rest. Now, there's enough there. Do I need to have more of this? Yes. I'd like double, but you know, it's fine, because I'm trying to collect enough for a year. That's my goal. Because of that, I did have a load of excess carrots, so I got 5 more jars. Not a lot, but it's 5 more jars. It's enough for now. My canned peaches, I want to discuss the peaches with you. It's done in a light to medium syrup. I left the skin on. I left the skins on because with peaches I do feel you have to go with the flow. And I've already opened up, I've already done a peach cobbler with it. It was absolutely delicious. You know yourself that when you get peaches, and these peaches were on the firm side, so if you get peaches where the skin is quite thin and it's quite hard, then I know I can can them with the skins on. Where if it's the type of peach where they're very fuzzy and very fuzzy on the outside and very, very thick, then I know, no, I'll boil them and I'll take the skins off. But I knew they were very much close to nectarines, so for me it was great. And I did a peach cobbler, and honestly, I'm so glad I didn't waste my time peeling them. Moving over then to and yes, I reuse obviously all the jars we do in the UK. Did my pizza base / pasta base tomatoes. The peaches, out of that box I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them. Then with this 2, 4, 6, 8 again, 10 of the tomatoes, varying in different sizes. Canned really well, and I've got a video about how I did that. So taking these then little things aside, because I had to use, because all the tomatoes took so long in the UK for some of us, definitely in the south, to ripen on the vine. Subsequently the skins were really thick, because that's what happens sometimes when it's taken a long time to ripen, but the fruit itself has grown to its fullest. The skins get thick, so there wasn't a chance that I was going to be able to save any of the skins as I'd hoped. But I've got my powder, so I'm fine. It's in flakes, but it's great. It's going to be great for a thickener. Celery did really well, and because I used the bicarbonate of soda, they're a lovely deep green. Do you remember those shrimps? Prawns? Yeah, and shrimps. Look how teeny they are. I showed my son and he was like, they're so small. They are, and they fitted into that, what was it, 130 net weight, drained weight, 220 gram glass bottle, jar. decided, wasn't sure what I was going to do with the lemons. I was in two minds. I knew I wanted to store for long use sorry, I haven't washed my jars yet. The lemon juice, so that was done in there. I always peel and dehydrate the skins because they're great for brewing, and they are great for putting in things like well, drinks, but the other thing I was thinking of is limoncello, so that's what I'm saving them up for. Obviously my ginger, got a full ginger, and with the remaining peppers that I didn't use for here, I've got, these are fantastic, I love them, little squares of pepper. And all my courgettes fitted in this one here. Loads here, do want more. This is to just eke out the flour storage that I have. So that'll be good. I won't be using it in vast amounts, but when I do some muffins and some bread, I will be adding some of this. So all in all, that's it really. Hopefully you can see how hard I worked, and it's on to the potatoes now, because I've got one sack left to do. I've already done that, so that's a video coming soon. Anyway, hope you're motivated. Bye!